Yo, what's good, everybody? Yeah, let's get some more people in here, though. All right, if you have anybody that wants to be part of this live stream right now, click that share button. Also, light this up. All right, light this up because we're going to cover some important things today. But yeah, let me just actually get some more people in here. But yeah, what up, everybody? Happy to have you here. Let's run it up, and let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see. All right, let's copy the link. All right, perfect. Here is the live link. All right, nice. So, I mean, we're going to jump onto some things real quick, but let me know in the chat if you hear me well. Throw a number 1, and I'll just type it in too. Throw a number 1 in the chat. If you hear me well. Yeah, so comment number 1 in the chat if you hear me well down below. And yeah, we'll get started in a bit. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Mic test, mic test. Throw a number 1 in the chat if you hear me well. If not, then I can, turn it up just a little bit. But yeah, happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday. What up, Ariana? What up, FXJ? How we doing? How was everybody's weekend? We are tuning in to another live stream. We went, I think, like a couple days ago onto another stream, and then that was pretty much just like that whole backtesting, right? So, but yeah, we're about to get started shortly. All right, we're about to get started. But yeah, what's up, FXJ? What's up, Sharp? How we doing? How we feeling? I hope you had an amazing weekend, right? Amazing weekend. Let's get it. Yeah, so say what's up in the chat, though. Say what's up in the chat. Let me make sure that I notified everybody. Come join. Yeah, join the party. Let me put it right here. All right, let's go. So what we're going to do basically is we're going to start like back testing, and then from there we can do that watch list. All right. So the point of these streams, again, remember, is that we're one to learn, educate, see what's going to happen within the next day, within the next week, or the next month, and really prepare ourselves for this upcoming week, right? There is some news that's going to be dropping throughout the week, and that can lead us into, finding some good setups. And that's what we're going to cover into this YouTube stream. So backtesting, and from backtesting, we're going to do a watch list. And yeah, just stay tuned. All right, stay tuned. And also keep in mind that all these streams or these webinars that we're doing, they're all recorded, and we're going to go, from there, as in you can rewatch it, right? So yeah, say what's up in the chat. I want to see who's all in here. Maybe if you're part of the Discord, wonderful. Maybe if you're not, that's totally cool. But as long as you're tuning into these streams, because we're going to keep doing these streams, consistently. And I want to do at least 2, maybe 3 times per week. I'll see. But I want to do this every single week on YouTube, and you don't really have to worry about, hey, where's the recording? And if you want to see the recording, all you got to go is onto the YouTube channel and hit the live section, right? But yeah, let me actually go from there. Let's see. All right, perfect. And so let's go into, I would say, a random stock. I'm going to let the viewers choose a stock, and then that's where we can back test. But remember, everything that we do here, or the point of like the whole channel, the Discord, the education, is basically like supply and demand concepts. All right. What I like to do is keep things simplified, keep things easy and just for you all. All right. So I wouldn't want someone to comment what stock they want me to backtest. All right. And this backtesting is very important because that helps us to refine our skills, to perfect it so we can, kill the markets. So someone in the stream, comment a stock that you want me to backtest. It can be anything, all right? But make sure that it's not a stock that we have traded before, or if it's a stock that's like, maybe you're looking at, maybe it's like a low cap stock. I don't want to hear the S&P. I don't want to hear the QQQs, Tesla, whatever. I want to hear a stock that nobody knows about, let's say. So yeah, someone in the chat though. I want someone to comment a stock that they want me to practice on. If I don't see a comment, then I'll just choose. So I'll give it a minute and then we'll go from there. All right. We'll go from there. So pick a stock, anybody, the first person that comments a stock, then we'll start there. All right. So we can get this stream going. Any takers? Any takers? Any takers? I'll give it an extra minute and then we'll go from there. Let me actually. All right, cool. So we'll do PCAR. Let's see what is PCAR. So let me actually. Let's do PCAR. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, hey, I never seen this stock. I mean, actually, I never seen or, don't even know what this is. This is a producer manufacturing. So it's in trucks, construction, and farm machinery. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do here is basically how would I set up, what would be the levels, and how can I really, start from a back testing approach and see how can we apply, the strategy and go from there, right? So we're going to do the back testing right now. And then after this, we're going to do the watch list and we'll go from there. All right. So I'm going to go back in time. All right. Just like what we did on the last stream. And this is something that we did. All right. So let's go back. I don't know where I'm at. Let's hit the replay button. I believe so, right there. There you go. All right. Perfect. So what I like to do is I like to go to the higher time frames. All right. So these higher time frames is kind of important just to know where we're at in the market and how can we move forward. All right. So let me go on to, we'll do a weekly. All right. We'll do a weekly and we'll go from there. So I basically see on this chart that this looks bullish. Okay, this looks bullish. It looks like it wants to go up, 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 up. Right now, this is what? July 29th of 2024. All right. So what I want everyone to do, like if you want, you can pull up this stock as well. You can mark it up with me, but let's go and draw a zone. So there you go. So all I'm doing here is I'm going off of a level or an area where we saw like a crazy gap up. Okay, that's basically what we see here. So after this big crazy gap up, what do we do next? This may be the question, as in maybe you have right now, maybe you're currently struggling with, and I want to see what happens next here. And all I'm doing here is whatever I learned inside of Vol Trading Academy, I'm putting it to on this stream right now, on this chart, and we're going to see what we can do from there. So if you look at this, it's basically going up, right? That's simple. If this is going up, all right, cool. Let's see the recent markups. Let's see where was the recent break of structure. Let's find the recent, all-time highs, and we'll go from there, all right? So I'm going to start, just like over here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and higher high. Perfect, right? So basically all this is doing is just doing this, just like that. And then we saw like a crazy impulse move. But then from there, what usually happens after we see like a big crazy move or all-time highs, the market comes back down. And that's what you see right here. So for this week on any stock, it doesn't matter if it's a weekly, if it's a daily, if it's a 1 hour, if it's a 30-minute, if it's a 5-minute, every time, or most of the time really, that if you see a all-time high being placed or a higher high, it usually pulls right back down. So if you put that into, the way that you trade or look at the your markups and things like that, and you see like a new high, expect it to pull back. All right. And this is where it pretty much causes like, preventing FOMO and just having that patience, because once you let the market ride out or play out, you're going to see wonderful setups. And that's what happened right here on this weekly. Because everything that you see right here on this weekly time frame can happen on 1 minute. I know that there's a lot of day traders and scalpers out there, but think of it like a 1 minute right now, like a 1 minute time frame. But in this case, this is a weekly time frame. So each candlestick means a week. But now let's mark out the recent high. Let's do this. Boom. Perfect. We have a new higher high. Cool. So now we're going to say, hey, the market's come back down, and where is it coming back down into? It's coming back down into an area where it just shot the market up. But what does that mean? This is where we saw previous big buyers there. And we've seen big buyers over here. So these are two areas, right? Because this is where it consolidated and then it ripped, a small consolidation, and then it ripped again. But now let's go to the lower time frames, because we need those lower time frames to see on how we can go ahead and place a trade, right? So again, the point of this stream is to backtest, refine our skills, work on that supply and demand concepts, and then from there we do the watch list. So let's go to a 1 hour time frame. Perfect. Right? So let me just see here. So I can refine this level. So let's move this up. Not sure why it didn't tap into that area. But now look at this. So the market came back down, was making lower lows and lower highs. And let's do this. Let's just find the most recent break of structure. I mean, yeah, of course, we see this like running down, but it came into an important level. So now think about this. We saw like a market downtrending, right? Because that's what we've seen. Downtrend. And let's mark it up together. So let's look at this. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Perfect. So now, what are you going to do? Find the area where it shifts the market from bearish to bullish. And if you don't know what bearish means, bearish just means that the market was downtrending, but then it flipped the script. All right, it flipped the script, meaning that it's now going to the opposite direction, which is now going up. And that's a good sign, because remember that green zone that we had down here just means that we seen buyer step in, right? Buyer step in that green area, because it means that we should see a bounce. And that's what demand zones mean. So now next, what we're going to do here is we're going to say that the market broke structure right here. Perfect. That is what signals us to now start considering that the market can now go up, right? So perfect. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to say, hey, this is the recent, or this is not the recent break, but this is what caused the buildup. So higher high, higher low, and then here we go. So now look at this. You might be like, well, we made a higher high, and then after this higher high, we made this higher low. We made a new higher high. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark out the high just like this. And this is what's going to lead you into your day trades. This is what's going to lead you to see what you can do for the next day or two. And that is what we use this specific time frame for, is the 1 hour time frame, is so you can go off of this time frame, not just for tomorrow or for the next day. It's for possibly the next 3 days or the next 5 days. So if you're backtesting or trying to create a watch list for yourself, use these specific time frames, just like the way that I started from the weekly. Now we're in the 1 hour, and we're learning more about on how the market went from bearish to bullish, but then it's now flipping back to being bearish. And where do you see that? It's over here, right? So look at this. Market was going up, going up, going up, going up, but then we have a break of structure right there. So yes, it was bullish, but now it flipped the script right back down, because remember, for the market to continue going up, the market must make higher highs and higher lows. And this is where we say that, okay, if I'm creating a watch list for this upcoming week, I want to find, is it bullish or bearish? In this case, we're going to say it's bearish. So I'm going to find the day, and this is what? Monday. We're going to wait for Tuesday. Tuesday is right over here. And what I want to do here is I want to see what caused this low, and is this low coming from where? We can say that this low is coming from an area where the market has a little gap or imbalance, whatever it is. We see a little gap over here. And also we have this zone, but then we also have a top zone. This is what's causing the market to sell off on this period here. That's now, telling the market should go down, right? But where could it go down to? It could come back down into the same area where there was previous buys. Because if you look at this, this is what built up the market to go right back up again. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to say, hey, this is the current low. Okay, current low. And then from there, all right, current low, let's just see how the market can come back down into here to look for a day trade, or from here to look for another day trade. That's all we're doing. We're looking for day trade opportunities or short-term swing positions. So now next, all right, so now next, all I got to do is just wait for that day to come, right? So on this day, it tells us that it was Monday, because if I look over here and put my mouse on it, it says Monday, 3 p.m. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to go to a 30-minute time frame, and I'm going to break this down even more. So now let's put play. So now let's do this. So now we're waiting for 9:30 a.m. because that's when the stock market opens on my side. All right, it might be 8:30 a.m. if you're Central, it might be 7:30 if you're Mountain Standard Time, or it might be 5:30 or 6:30 if you are in Pacific, right? So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to now look for the price to come into one of these two levels, and then we'll go from there. So now let's do this, and this is what we basically did on the last stream. So let's do this. So it looks like the market just came back down, right? Came back down, came back down. Has this ever happened to you? As in, you drew a zone, and then when you draw the zone, it doesn't come back into your zone? Let me know in the chat, because I want to see where you're currently at, what is going on. But this usually happens, right? So let me know in the chat that if this is something that has happened to you. Has this happened like, hey, the market's coming back up into, or let's just say you drew a zone, but the market never came back to your level? Has that happened before? Let me know in the chat. So while you answer that, I'm going to continue on moving forward, because I want to see how can I look for a day trade. All right. So now let's do this. So the market came back down, but now we have a little gap, right? So now that we have a gap, this is an area where the market can come back up into. All right. So it looks like the market doesn't want to come and test these levels as of now. So what I'm going to do here is not really focus on that. I really want to focus in this little gap in here. The market's about to open very, very soon, and I want to now go to a much more lower time frames because we see nothing but sell-offs right now. So let's go to like a 15. Let's see how that goes. All right, cool. Now we can expand this gap right here, and all we're saying is that right at the open, we're expecting a pullback or a comeback down into this green zone down here. So I'm going to make this a different color, because remember, when you see gaps, the market usually comes back and fills those gaps. And then that is pretty much an area where you can position yourself and get into a trade. So let's put play. There you go. So the market now came back down, but now you might be like, hey, what are we going to do next? So look at this. We still have this gap, but I want to find a way to place a trade. So let's go to like a 5-minute time frame. Let's just see if that allows us. All right, cool. So now let's do this. Now what I can do here is I can either short the market or come and push the market right back up to the upside. But think about it, that green zone that we found on the higher time frame means for it to go up. So I got to be very, very careful. If I'm grabbing puts or if I'm grabbing sells, I want to make sure that I'm on the right side basically. So now, if I'm looking for buys, I want to see a shift in structure. Just like the way that we've seen it over here, I want to see a shift right back down. So what it is, just to keep it simple, I want to see a U shape. I want to see a U shape from bearish back up to being bullish, because you can see it right here too. So whatever happened over here, let's drag that to here, and I want to see it repeat itself so I can start looking for some buys or some calls, right? Because that's what the green zone means. So let's move forward and let's put play. So there's nothing yet, there's nothing yet, there's nothing yet. All I'm doing here is just looking for an opportunity. And remember, you don't have to trade every single day, because if you try to trade it every single day, then we can take some bad setups. So make sure that you are trading on the days that gives you those setups that looks very, very good, that, you know, made you money in the past. Whatever strategy you use, make sure that you use the same setups that made you money in the past. All right, so make sure to take notes of that. Okay, so let's do this. It's already what, 9:30 to 11, and if you only have like 2 hours into the market, apply that, right? Turn off the screens, come back later, you know, tomorrow, or and that's what we can do. So now all I'm going to do here is, hey, you know, at this time I'm going to wait, and I'm going to come back the next day. So the next day would be over, let's see, over here. So I'm going to put it over here to, let me just move it over here to the side. Let me just put it right here so that we're looking for 9:30. All right, cool. So let's put play, and I'm going to let this play out. Let's do a 10x actually. Let's make it a little faster. And then we're just looking for the market to U-shape back up. So now look at this. It's already 9:30. I don't see any buys, right? I don't see any buys, but now we're breaking down to the downside. Okay, so it looks like the market's now pushing down. So now this is where we can change things up, and we can be like, all right, the market's now bearish because it's just making lower lows and lower highs. So now look at this. We're going to zoom into here and find the current structure and find a setup, right? Because remember, this is the time that we like to trade from 9:30 to 11, right? So lower low, lower high, lower low, and then lower high over here. So now I want to find the area that caused a new break, which is basically this zone. So I want to see more of a sell-off and then a retest. So let's see that. Nothing yet. I want to see a full break, and then, so there you go. So now look at this. Now this is what makes me to say, hey, I want to go ahead and short, and I'm only going to trade this only if the market breaks below this current candlestick, right? Because remember, for the market to continue going down, it has to make lower lows and lower highs. So let's do this. We're going to put a line right here because that is the current support, because there's people buying this up. And all I'm doing here is just to confirm this to go right back down. So let's put play. So let's wait. So you can see the market sold off a little bit, but then it's not really giving us an entry yet. Nothing yet. So we want to see purple candlesticks, because purple candlesticks just means that the market's now ready to flush right back down. Nothing, right? So there is no trade, but now we see a structure shifting. Could this mean that green zone that we see on the bigger time frame means that can the market go right back up? Of course, right? And again, right now what we're doing is we're back testing, and so we can see on how we can do this when it comes down for tomorrow, for this week, or whenever you're ready to trade. All right, so let's do this. We're going to put on a level here because that is what caused the low, and now we see a break of structure. So now let's do this. I want to see the market go above this zone or this box so I can start confirming and saying, hey, you know, there is really buyers in this green zone, and let's try to take it up. So let's put play. So the market's pushing up, pushing up, pushing up, and I'm going to wait for another break. Just like this. Cool. So now we're seeing a shift in trend, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low. Now we have a higher high. But I want to see a trend being built to confirm that there is a lot of buyers sitting in this green zone just to go right back up again. So there you go. So the market made a new high, right? And what am I going to do now next? I'm going to wait for the market to pull right back down into one of these zones so I can look for an entry. That's all I'm doing. So let's put play. Boom, right there. Does everyone see on how the market just pulled right back down, right in this zone? And again, you want to wait for those retests. You want to see for the market to pull back into your levels. And this is on how you're looking for a day trade, a swing position, a scalp, a mini scalp, whatever it is. But right now, we're just testing the strategy, which is supply and demand concepts. Is this zone going to hold? I don't know. I wish I knew. But the only thing that I can do here is I can go ahead and look for a pullback, a confirmation, and then I can go ahead and trade it, right? So let's do this. So if this zone holds, I'm going to trade at the break above this high. So let's put play. So I'm going to put a buy position right here, right there, and cool. So now let's put play and let's just see if the money comes in. There you go. So now you can see that we basically applied supply and demand concepts, market structure, and we see that, you know, this zone is currently holding right now. So now let me ask you this. Tell me in the chat right now, will this play out? Or is this something that's not going to play out? Let me know in the chat right now if this zone is going to hold. Say either yes or no in the chat. All right, so let me know. I want to see everybody comment. I mean, if you want to guess, you can. If not, it's okay. But I want to see, what do you all think? Is this going to run up or is this going to drop right back down? I want to see who's listening in this live stream right now. All right, so let me know in the chat, going up or going down. So let me know, are we going to go up or are we going to go down? I want to see who's listening. I want to see who really wants to, you know, get this down, because this is what we do, right? Yes, what? Are we going up or are we going down? Let me know. Are we going up or are we going down? So we have yes, we have up. So come on, let's see what y'all got. Let me know. I want to see more answers. I'll give it another 30 seconds and then we'll pretty much just move forward from there. Let me know. Because I'm about to play this out and then I'll tell you what will be the next steps for us to, you know, go off of. All right. So it's Maui said that it's going up. And anybody else before I hit the play button? Anybody else? All right. Anybody else? All right, cool. So let's do this. So you can see how the market was making an impulse, came back down in an impulse. Now it came back down into this demand. And this is what it's called, right? So everything here, it's called demand. Let's just mark it out like this. And then let's mark out this too, demand. And let's do this. So the market is now breaking above this level, but then also we're going to say, hey, you know, if I'm wrong about this move, if it's not going to go up, right, then I want to either have a stop loss right here, or we can have a stop loss over here, right? One of the two. It really comes down to you what is the percentage you want to lose? Is it going to be 15, 20, 30%, whatever it is? That's up to you. Everyone is different. But right now, we are saying, hey, we already placed our entry, right? And that's what I'm going to put right here. Entry, just like that. And that entry, but then also a stop loss. But let's just say, where's your target going to be? You can target areas of liquidity. You can target areas of imbalances, whatever, right? It's up to you. So let's just say, for example, my main target would be honestly like a little gap that we found over here. So if you look at this area that we found over here, that is a gap, right? So we can just type in a text, which is a gap, okay? And on this gap, right? So on this gap, this is a gap that where the market can come back and fill. But now think about this. We have more gaps up here. And we have more gaps up here. So now think about this. Now we can also be thinking about the risk reward. So if the risk reward would be great, then it kind of like makes sense that it's worth taking this particular setup because we can mark out our main targets, which is that little gap, but also we can leave runners, right? We can leave runners into taking it into maybe possibly like, let's see, like a 1 to 10, a 1 to 15, a 1 to 20, whatever it is. But we can have like a much more wider target. If you feel like that day trade is like something where you can be like, okay, this is something that can not just, just hit my PT1, but this is also something where it can hit PT2, PT3, PT4, PT10, whatever it is. And PT just means that it's price targets. So if you do have that, then what you can do is leave runners. And runners just means that it's like looking for a home run, right? So now let's do this. So let's put play and let's just say, hey, where is this market going to? So if I move forward over here and look at this, the market's now coming up into this range where we see an imbalance or stop loss. So now look at this. This is an area where the market can now reject. So this is where we have to be careful. That stop loss can become a break even. Whatever you want to do, but just know that you already had 10 minutes of a run up. But then also now you have this current 5-minute candlestick that's now selling off. So this is where you're like, okay, so what do I do next? Do I look for a pullback or should I buy in more? Whatever it is. But right now, I'm going to just leave it the way it is. And I'm going to say, hey, the stop loss is there, but what I can do is I can set a break even. So let's do this and let's put play. And let's just see if we actually fill in this little gap over here because that is a gap. So let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, cool. So now we are currently rejecting. And on this current rejection, we are now saying, hey, the market is now, currently selling off. So let's do this. Let's hit play. Let's hit play. Let's hit play. Let's see if we get stopped out. We're still in this trade technically. Let's see. We're still in this trade. So now look at this. So now the market is below our entry. But again, this happens, right? This happens. If I get stopped out on this, we're going to find another way to enter because we still have more demand at the bottom. So let's put play and let's just see what happens. All right, cool. So now we're above entry. Let's go. If this is going to run up, hey, we make money. If this doesn't, then we don't make money. Boo-hoo, right? So whatever happens, and this is the point of trading, is that you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. And if you lose some, that's okay, but make sure that they're very, very small. But when you win, you want to make sure that you can maximize the most that you can, right? Or you possibly can. So let's do this. Are we now going to finally fill in that gap? I don't know, but if it does, that would be amazing, right? So let's do this. There we go. Nice. So for the 4 people that said, yes, it's going up, going up, going up, round of applause. You did good. And that's just basically what we do every single day inside of Vault Trading Academy. We look for setups just like this. But remember, in this big green zone, we are looking for buys. And that's what the main objective is for. It's to see on how the trend can go from bearish back up to being bullish. But there we go. So for the ones that said, yes, 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 it's going up, you did really, really well, right? You did really, really well. And if you are enjoying this live stream, all right, if you are enjoying this live stream, hit that like button. If you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and let's keep on going. All right, so we're going to get to the watch list. So let's just hang in there just a bit, but let's practice, right? Because this is what's needed before we jump into the live markets this week. All right, so let's put play and we're going to see, can we now make higher highs and higher lows or whatever it is, right? So let's do this. If the market wants to continue, then we must make new higher lows. And what does that look like? That looks like something like this. We want to see something like that, right? But where are we going to target next? So remember, we want to target areas of gaps. That's what I like to do. That's like my whole bread and butter. So another gap, just like the way that we've seen over here, can be like this. So that's a gap. So this is gap 1. Gap 1. This is gap 2. Just like that. And we're going to target the next one, or if it's possible, then perfect. If not, then that's cool. So now, What is the best thing for me to do though? Can I make this trade a risk-free trade? Hell yeah. That's really the best thing to go about it. If you can make your trades become risk-free, then it's amazing because you're not going to lose anything. All you're doing is you're trailing that position, right? Each time that it makes a new higher high, you're just going to say that the market should not go underneath a specific higher low. So now do this. Market is now making a new high. Now, or the market can now pull back, and that's what we're expecting, but we want to see if we can target here or here. And remember, let's just say if we're still continuing on holding that runner. So let's do this. Let's put play. Okay, cool. So let me just delete this real quick. And look at this. Market came up, came back down. And let's just set this stop loss to a break even. So I'm going to say, hey, if I'm wrong or if the market pulls back, I have a break even point where I can just lose $0 or I can make sure that I don't lose anything, right? So I'm going to turn this to a break even because that's where we entered, of course. And we want to make sure that we find more support, more higher highs, more higher lows, and all that good stuff, right? So let's do this. If the market wants to hold here, then show me that it wants to make a new impulse move, right? So let's see. Perfect. It's doing what we're doing right here, right? And this is what we want to see. So if you want to turn this break evens to say, hey, you want to get stopped out, but for a profit, then you're going to move it right here. And let's just do that right here, okay? So let's do a break even, but now this is a trailing stop, right? Boom, right? So right now tonight we're having another education class, and if you're enjoying this, like I said, like this up, okay? And we're gonna do this every single week. So let's do another trailing stop right here, and let's expect another higher high. So let's remove this, and we're trying to take it to gap 2. What do y'all think? Should we take it to gap 2 or should we take it to gap 3? Oh, so this is gap 2. So this was gap 2 or gap 3. Sorry. All right, cool. So let's put a play. So the market came back down. All right, cool. That happens, right? The market can't just fly, fly, fly. People are taking profits. So let's move forward. What do y'all think? I'm loving this back testing, guys. Like I'm loving and I'm enjoying this back testing with you all. If you are, let me know if you're enjoying this live stream because I believe that, we are killing it right now. We are killing it with this back testing session that we're currently having tonight. If you are enjoying this, let me know in the chat. But like I said, this strategy has been, used. This is what I teach students. This is what I've, fully mastered and just, get this going. And hey, this works, right? You see it right here working. And when we do these live calls, you see, the outcome. There's some wins, there's some losses, but at the end of the day, we understand on how the market moves, right? Because the most important thing that you must understand and fully, get down is going to be market structure. Market structure is what's taught inside the YouTube channel. And you can go ahead and tonight or whenever this week, go on the YouTube channel and look up where I talk about market structure. If you want more assistance and you want more help with this, join the team, right? Or if you're part of the team, ask me questions, right? I want to make sure that everyone gets this down because this is something that, that works, right? So now we're almost into gap 2, okay? So now we're almost into gap 2. So let's put play and let's just see what we're going to do next, all right? So it looks like the market came back down in the pre-market, so that's 415. Let's just see if we continue to hold. Boom. Now look at this. At gap 2, all right? At gap 2, are we going to reject? Are we going to sell off? There's a possible chance that we can, okay? So let's do this. If we see a rejection, that just means that the market can now, sell right back down. And this could be something perfect for day traders, okay? Perfect for day traders because there's always an opportunity, right? And now just keep in mind, if we zoom out, this green zone just means for it to go up. That's what it means, right? So let's move forward and let's put play. Okay, the market came back down. There are sellers. Okay, cool. The market has officially opened and now it's selling off at gap 2. So now let's do this. Let's just say, let's find a new trade. All right, let's find a new trade. Let's see how we can move forward from this, but let's do one more. Okay, let's do this one more, setup and let's find a way to trade. And this is the same thing that I want everyone to do, every morning, right? So let's do this. We still have a level down here that we can use for the market to come back down. Why? Because this is still an area where it just shot the market up, right? So it shows that there's a lot of buyers around here, and around these areas, market ran up, popped off, perfect. But now what I want to do here is, can we actually break above gap 2 and start making higher highs to get us into gap 3? Let's find out, right? So you can see that the market's now officially open. It's 9:35 right now, and let's move forward, right? So let's do this. So market's coming back down. All we're doing is we're looking for another opportunity. So let's put play right here. Cool. So now what am I going to do next? This is a level that it's at 10 a.m. And remember, let's say that I only go from 9:30 to 11:30. So I have like an hour and a half left to trade. If this zone doesn't hold and it just like falls right back down, I'm going to stop looking at it, right? And I would say it's recommended. So gap 1, we're back into that area where there was a lot of buyers, and let's go into here, and we're going to look for a break above this bearish candlestick. So that purple candlestick, remember, it just means that there is sellers at that area. So what we want to see is the black candlesticks, because the black candlestick says that the market should go up, right? It should go up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to place a buy position, right, above here. That's kind of risky, yeah, but since it already made us money in the past around here and then here and shot off, then we can reinvest our money back into the market. And so that's where I was talking about, like, hey, even though that, this is like a lower time frame, think of it like if you were long-term investing. Think of it like if it were to be Bitcoin. Think of it if it were to be like XRP. Think of it if it were to be like, SPY when it ran down, around April or March. And then after that, the market started flying up, right? So all we're doing here is we're expecting the market to go up again. So let's put play. Let's see. Nothing. So it's already 10:10. There is money coming in. And let's just see if the market can now shoot up to the upside. So let's do this. If the market shoots up, stop loss would be under this low. And we're going to target where? The area where it sold off. Right here, right? Because there could be another rejection. So let's put play. Could we get another move? It's already 10:55. So think about this. It was usually at 9:30, right, where we trade and look at the markets, but now it's 11, almost 11:30. That's almost 2 hours in. You have to really decide, should I continue watching the markets? Should I continue to trade? If you feel like you can't, and that's like your cutoff hours, then don't trade, right? There's no point of taking this setup. For me, I would be like, it's like, this is where I have to take a break. Maybe I got to go get some sun, whatever it is. Then I can come back, tomorrow, right? If this runs and runs, perfect. I'm not stressing, because remember, there's always opportunities out there in the stock market, Forex market, crypto market, whatever it is, right? So let's just say I don't place this trade, but let's just still see if this does deliver, and for the ones that still continue to watch the market. But for me, there wouldn't be no trade here, just because the time, the cutoff hours, and I'm done. So let's just see. So let's put it right here. And let's just see if it delivers. Now this is 12:15. No movements. All right, cool. So now we're seeing something around like lunch hour and things like that, but it's still off this key level. And we're trying to target this level, right? So let's just see if it does. Very, very slow volume. And the best thing, if someone were to trade this and they see like a chop like this, I would cut the trade. Because why are you going to put yourself into a market where there's no volume at all? Find another trade. There's always another setup. Take the -5%, -10%, and put your money elsewhere where there is more movements. Because in day trading, remember, it's all a fast-paced game. There's a lot of pressure around it. And if you feel like there's no volume at all, then there's no point of holding onto the trade for, an hour or two, right? So let's put play. And it hit the stop loss. It hit the stop loss and that's it, right? And it's already what, 345, and then there you go, right? So after this, I think the market ran up. Yeah, the market ran up after that. Yeah, look at the next day, it just ran up, right? And I want to see if it does come back into this gap 3 for that day or for the next day or two. Let's just see. If it does, then that'll be amazing, right? Because we see that this green zone just meant nothing but just look for some upside. Let's see. I want to see what happens the next day or two. And then after this, we'll go on to the watch list, and then we'll cover what are the stocks to watch for this upcoming week, and then also the news. I want to see if we gap up or run up at least. So it looks like the market came back down. Let me just go back on a 1 hour. So no, let me stop here. So there you go. So everything else after that, the market just started shifting right back down, and that's where the market started now to downtrend, and that's totally cool. And if I seen something like that, then we move on. All right. So now let's do a watch list. All right. Let's just see what are the stocks to watch for this week. We just back tested just to refine the skill, just to heat some things up. Before we dive into the live markets this upcoming week. So now I want everyone to throw stocks in the chat right now so we can go ahead and move forward. And what are the stocks that you are watching, and also what are the stocks that you want me to mark up? So throw that into the chat right now, and then we'll do the first one. All right. So the first one that comments will do that, and then everybody else can start commenting after that, and then we'll go from there. And then I'll cover my watch list. So does anybody want me to mark up any charts for the stock that they are looking at? Let me see. Anybody else? Anybody wants me to mark up a stock? Let me know in the chat right now. All right, so let me do this. So if you're looking at PCAR, we can start off this one, and then look at this. So as of now, I mean, the market is still very, very bullish. Market pushed up. And just like I was saying, we had like a zone down here. And we also had like a zone over here. Those were the two demand zones. But now looks like the market's now U-shaping again. So on this U-shape, we had one here, and that's what we're day trading, right? But then also we have this one again. So now what's next? So what's next is that I would say we can look for a run up, right? So for this week, it would look something like this, right? So PCAR, off of this demand zone, we can see a bounce, right? So on, what was it? On the 2nd, on October, we saw that there was what? A run up, and then on Friday we saw a run down, but I believe this can see like a pop off. What do you think? But yeah, so bullish on PCAR. And this is a 2-hour time frame. Yeah, so a 2-hour time frame. So if you're looking at this stock, I mean, it can hold this one, but if it doesn't, if there's no buyers, then most likely it's going to come back down to like lower levels down here. So let's do SoFi. So SoFi, I believe that, this is still like long-term bullish. You can see after a crazy run up, the market was like blasting off, right? So the market was blasting off. So after this blast off, look at this. The market now is selling off. So we have 2 red weeks, right? So now these 2 red weeks, where can the market come back down? The market can come back down into this area right here, right? This area here. So 22. That is a good range where the market can come back down into because one, market already saw new all-time highs, or not new all-time highs, but just saw like a major impulse move because I don't think we made all-time highs. Oh, actually we did. After all-time highs, the market now came back down. This is 1, actually good. 2, there's a retest happening. Now 3, you just have to look for the confirmation in the entry. The entry, what I would say, could be around like 21 or 22, in my opinion, because that is a demand zone. So right now, you could see like pullbacks for the next day or 2, but we still have a lot of imbalances. We have liquidity right here. And that is at 23.99. So around that high 23s, there is liquidity, but what's underneath is we have demand. So that's where the market can come back down into and then bounce. So you want to see something like this. Like that. And that is SoFi. Okay, that is SoFi that can get us back down into that area. But what you want to see here, the area where it consolidated the most, which is around here, is where the market can come back down into and then bounce like crazy. So that is that's what I see on SoFi. As of now, within the last, like 4 days, 5 days, nothing but just lower lows and lower highs. Bearish, 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 bearish. And that's what's happening in this market. So I would say what is next on SoFi would be something like this. Look for a retest back up into this zone around 25 or 26, and then that can be an area where we can possibly see a rejection. So it'll be something like this, and then a rundown. Because I don't think it can go any higher because we don't have any gaps or imbalances. I mean, we do, but it's all the way up here, right? So if it starts shifting back up to making higher highs and higher lows, then most likely it's going to come for this 29 level over here. Okay, because that is like a little gap, which is an imbalance, and the market can come back into that area. But if we don't, then it looks like the market's going to come back down and take out this liquidity that we see on the left-hand side, and that's going to be the high 29s. So for me, to really like get like a good, nice swing trade would be down here. Okay, and then after that, the market can run right back up. So we got SoFi. Let's do SQQQ. So anything else, like if you want me to mark up a chart, let me know, and and put that in the chat. So SQQQ. This one, I mean, we did have some levels, didn't respect, went above a little bit, and then it came back down, making new lows, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. But now we have areas where there is support, like over here. If we build off of this and start doing this, the market's going to come back up, take out all this liquidity. So if this happens, if SQQ goes up, then most likely SPY, the NASDAQ, is going to run down, right? So after this, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, most likely it's going to find some sort of support because we saw like big money come in. And then after that, we can start potentially seeing SQQ start hitting 15, 16, maybe the high 17s. But right now it is expected to see a run up. I mean, you could put it this way as well, but right now it's just in a channel making a downtrend. But once we start breaking above these key levels here, you're going to most likely see something like this. And that's where you can start finding zones, key levels, and the same thing that what we just did on that one stock that we're back testing. It's the same thing just like this. And the market can come right back up, mitigate imbalance, fill in those little gaps. There's like little gaps up here on the left-hand side. And that's what SQQ can potentially do. The next one will be Palantir. Palantir was something that I was really, really bullish in ever since from over here. Look on how the market ran up, consolidated, ran up. Supply is in effect. And that is what's like really what's pushing PLTR down right now. But now the thing is that could we run up or run down? For me, I mean, there could be two things. This supply zone just means that the market is now like currently like selling off right now on PLTR. So if we break current lows like over here, then that's going to show nothing but more value, and it's going to come back down to the area where it consolidated the most, which is most likely down here. So let me delete that. Over here. That's what I see happening. And if it does come back down to that area, then we can see this and then this again, right? This is something similar to what we've seen on Apple. And we marked this up like last week, that Apple was consolidating back and forth. And all we did was just draw out the supply and the demand. And that's what's going on, right? So if PLTR wants to have like a good, healthy uptrend within the next 3 months, the next 6 months, then I would say it would be best to see a major consolidation and then a crazy rip, right? So, I mean, it's a good thing that PLTR, you know, it's running down. But if it does, then it's most likely going to come back down to that one zone that we have at the bottom, which is this, let's turn it green. And that level is basically 158 to 150. That is the level that PLTR can come back down into. Let's delete it real quick. And I would say, yeah, if we make new lower lows within the next 2 to 3 days, we're going to see this level being touched. But if it doesn't, we see the market run up, I really wouldn't touch it because out of nowhere, the market can reject and fall right back down. Just based off what we've seen on like Thursday and Friday on that sell-off, and you still want to, you know, look for buys, just wait for the market to go up above this red zone, do this, and then look for another, you know, run up. That's the only way. If you don't see that, then it's kind of risky to get into some calls right now. But yeah, that's PLTR. All right, Palantir. INTC. All right, let's do Intel. So let's do INTC. And again, if you have a stock that you want me to mark out, let me know, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So this one, I kind of like this stock because we see that there is, of course, higher highs and higher lows, right? But these higher highs, higher lows, they have these demand zones. I mean, they look great, right? I mean, if I draw them. So I want to find the most recent one, which is this one. This one right here. We have a demand right here. And we also have another one right here. So if we hold this zone here and we make a new high, then there's really no point of looking for none of these anymore. Because yeah, you know, these are valid demand zones, but it looks like the market just want to continue ripping and ripping and ripping, right? So we can do this. Higher high, higher low, right? And then after this higher high, this higher low and this higher high, we really shouldn't get below this, right? This level here. If we do, then there's going to be manipulation, a major consolidation, and there can be some confusion. And that's where you want to stop looking at Intel, basically. Other than that, look for this zone here, and I'll give you the levels right now. 35 and 33. Those are the two levels that I would say you can watch for the market to come back down and retest. To take out and make new highs. Because if you look at this on a bigger picture, it looks like the market's now U-shaping. And the U-shapes go crazy. Let's look when the market U-shaped. Look at this. U-shaped, U-shaped, U-shaped. But then look at this. It hit what? 40, 50. And that's a good thing. So it's the same exact thing. Whatever happened here is what can happen over here as well, and that's what's currently, you know, going on. But now the thing is that can we consolidate more and then rip to do what? to take out liquidity here, imbalance here, and then these double tops up here. That is what can happen, right? But right now, Intel could be, a stock that can, have your eyes on, because it's just what, just keeps on pumping and pumping and pumping. I believe that this is like a one-sided market on Intel or on INTC, and this is a 4-hour time frame. So if you look at it, it's INTC 4-hour time frame. But yeah, that's the zone, right? That's the zone that we currently have, 35.84. These two zones can be used throughout the week. If we consolidate, tomorrow or on Tuesday inside of here, then just wait until it gives you confirmation. But the point of this 4-hour zone is for you to look a retest into, so you can look for those lower time frame entries. But remember, you're not here to be like, or if you're day trading or scalping, you're not to say, hey, I want to get in here and try to, target like 40 or 42, because it's most likely not going to happen. But the thing is, like, if you are trading this zone, you just want to get like a little piece of the cake, right? And that's what it is. So if you're day trading and you're scalping and you're trying to use a 4-hour, yeah, you're going to see a reaction, but just keep in mind that it's going to be very, very quick. And don't think that that's going to go, okay, just from this green zone, let me hold on to this day trade, and it's going to hit like 42, 44. Yeah, it can happen at times, but you just have to have like a much more narrow target when it comes down to day trading and scalping. Okay, and this is Intel on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so is there anything else? Is there any other stocks that anybody wants me to mark out? If you want me to mark out something, then put it into the chat. But yeah, let's move forward to the stocks that we have here on the right hand side. Okay, so where is my water? So let me go on GameStop. So GameStop, I mean, it's still bullish. It's still bullish, so let's do this. So as of now, I mean, it makes sense on why is this, reacting the way it should. But GameStop, I would say, I just see that the market can come down one more time and then we can see a run up, because, I mean, we left really behind a gap over here on the left-hand side. And hey, if that comes back down into here, then all I'm doing here is just looking for like a double bottom. And that is what can create like this this big move, right? So on the bigger time frames, I mean, this looks like it's like it wants to shoot up, and we've seen GameStop go crazy, right? But if we do say, hey, this is the zone that really wants to shoot GameStop up, then yeah, let's continue using the zone until it doesn't work anymore, right? So the thing is, like, with these zones, or whatever zone you're working with, is continue using that same zone if you see what you're looking for, like the volume, the risk reward, is it really worth it? Those are things that you have to ask yourself when you are trading, right? So if you ask yourself those, that's going to apply patience and discipline, and you're going to see nothing but, A quality setups, because remember, you're focusing on the setups that made you money in the past. So GameStop, I'm expecting the market to come back down just one more time, and then after that, possibly GameStop, not this week, but the following, we can see another rip to the upside. So that's GameStop. So now next, I'm going to do, I think BABA. Right, so BABA, this is going insane. BABA is going insane right now, and this is a weekly time frame. But the thing is, like with this one, is that the market's already at like highs right now, right? Highs. Can this go something above like 200, 250? Yeah. BABA looks amazing. Based off the trend, based off on how the market shifted from bearish to bullish, it looks very, very great. So look at this. Market broke structure here, broke structure here, broke structure here. But you can see every time that the market makes a new high, pulls back. New high, pulls back. And then look at this, double bottom. Remember, this is what I'm looking for GameStop. It's for price defined support. And then look at this, a new crazy rip. But the thing is that with Baba, we haven't really seen like the pullback, right? We haven't seen the pullback. That's all right. There's gonna be, it's either this week, if not, it could be within the next 2 weeks. If I find a way to see a pullback, then within 2 week period and does something like this, it's most likely gonna do that, and that's like a money opportunity. But yeah, that's what Baba's doing. So if I go in a lower time frame, it looks like every day or two or every week or two, there's going to be like a new higher high. So if I look at the 1 hour, look at that. Every time that it makes a new high, it consolidates, rips. And then from there, consolidates, rips, consolidates, rips, consolidating. I wouldn't be surprised if Baba just gapped up tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised. But I want to see a gap fill at one point. We really haven't seen a gap fill that much. I mean, the only last gap fill that we've seen would be like over here and then over here, right? Little gap fills, and then out of nowhere just pops off like crazy. If I do see a great pullback, I'm going to most likely swing it. Not maybe like a weekly contract. It might be like a 3 to 6 week out contract, depending on how it pulls back. This one, like I said, every single week or two, it gives you like a new higher high. But look at the gap up, right? So think about it. The risk reward is there, right? The risk reward is there. So keep an eye on Baba, okay? So keep an eye on Baba. And again, if you are enjoying this live stream tonight, like this up, share it, rewatch it, whatever you want to do, because yeah, we're doing really, really amazing today. Let's do Nova. So let's do Nova. So let's do this. Is this the right one? I don't think so. What's the ticker? This one? Is it NVAX? NVAX. Is that the one? All right, so give me the ticker. Oh, NVO. Oops. Same exact thing, right? I mean, look at this. Break a structure, made a new high. This is basically what we just did on the on that 1 minute or that 5 minute time frame on that one stock that we're back testing, right? So look at this. We have a demand. Market ran up like crazy. What caused these highs? Start from right here. This is what pumped the market up, right? And this is bullish. Broke structure. And after that break of structure, what do we have? A retest, right? Because remember, every time the market makes a new crazy high, it usually pulls back and it fixes some imbalances, takes out liquidity that was being built up. So if you see this right here, imbalance. Liquidity. There's like a little imbalance in here, then the last little imbalance in here, and it came back down to this level. So now we had like a downtrend, but then we saw like a crazy rip. Higher high, higher low, and the full focus is to have a level here and look for the market to come back down to here. If you can get the market to come back down to here, then that's a good opportunity potentially to see if we can bounce off of this level. Because the market made a new high, higher low, higher high, we can come back down, and most likely we left behind little wicks, which is like antennas, which is liquidity, right? And let's just say if it comes back down before that, before taking this, that'll be amazing. That'll be like a great setup. But yeah, that right there could come back down, take out that liquidity here, but also take out the little gap that you see on the left-hand side, right? Because there's like a little gap right here. If you can find a way to get in like here or maybe here and then take it to this level, amazing, right? That's a little gap that can be filled. But there's going to be a reaction at some point in that level. So you got to be careful. If you see the market pumping here and it's almost there, be careful. And I would say it wouldn't really be worth it. I mean, I wouldn't do that, because if I place a call, then there can be like a rejection around the area, right? So remember what we just back tested? It's the same exact thing. If the market's pumping, and we didn't place an entry yet, then there can be a reaction here, and then you can be, messed up or chopped up into some calls, right? Because maybe you traded around 60.93 and there's like a gap around 61.30. It's like a very, very small, risk reward on that. So just ask yourself, is it worth taking? But yeah, that's NVO. What else? Oracle. Yeah, I'll do Oracle after SPY. So we'll do SPY. So SPX and SPY is pretty much the same thing. So we'll do SPY and then we'll do Oracle. So, I mean, really, right now, the only thing that's like what's pulling the market is basically these two levels. So this, that, and that. So the S&P, it looks good, right? But the thing is that the market is creating some sort of support on that run up, higher high, higher low, higher high. I see the market coming back down one more time, and then we can run up again. The only reason why I'm saying we can see a pullback is just because we have like an imbalance around these ranges, and that can test this level. And if it does come back down and test that level, then this is where it's going to give us the answer on what we need on the S&P to continue forward. Right now, making higher highs and higher lows. But what we've seen on Friday was some crazy sell-offs, right? And that's what these purple candlesticks are for, is each time that you see a purple candlestick, it falls right back down. I just changed the color. So I would say the area to, focus on this week could be, I would just put the price range right here. These two lines. That is what's creating the level where we can see a retest back into. But if it breaks below that, then we're going to shit, right? We're going to hell. And we can test like more like mini gaps, more imbalances in that, and that is what I see happening if we do break that level though. So if it does, then we can potentially see a big correction. But as of now, I don't want to go and just say, hey, the market's about to crash. But right now it's holding up still. So if I start seeing more of like this, okay, then now we're talking, right? Now we're talking. Now the S&P is showing now signs of a potential correction, but that's only if I see this. Right, and remember, it has to be on the bigger time frame though. But right now it's going up. Okay, it's going up. So just watch these levels, and if we hold there could be an opportunity to enter. If it breaks below it, then there can be an opportunity to enter on that rundown. But just make sure that if you are trying to day trade or scalp, in and outs, right? Make sure in and outs. You want to make sure that you're very, very quick, very fast with it, because remember, every single day is going to be a challenge in the stock market, the Forex market, the crypto market, whatever it is. And you just got to be prepared, be ready. And just like what we're doing right here, right? We just did a back testing and we're doing a watch list. And that is us preparing for this upcoming week, okay? So before I move forward to other, stocks, keep in mind that we have some news kicking in, I think. Let's see. We have on Wednesday FOMC, we have on Thursday job claims, and we also have like some other things that's happening on Friday, which is like NFP. Monday's clear, Tuesday's clear. I mean, this could be updated. Let's just say if Trump wants to get on, then that is something where we can fully focus on as well, right? But the days to really look for would be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you want to take the day off from like Monday and Tuesday, that's totally cool. Right, it makes sense. But yeah, that's the news for this week, right? So we only have 3 main things for this week, and if you want the calendar, then check in the Discord. If not, check the forexfactory.com. Okay, and make sure that you're locked in onto the USD only, because that is the US markets, and that's where we're trading, US markets. But yeah, that's that. Let's do Oracle. That's ORCL. Let's do ORCL. So look at this. The market looks like it wants to pull back, but where? It wants to come back down to this level over here. On this level here, the market can come back down and give us the bounce that we're looking for. But remember what I say. Every time that the market flies like crazy, there's going to be some opportunities to get in. So you see on how this one played out, that's the same thing that we got to do right here. That can happen as well. Maybe not, right? Remember, these levels that we draw, it's just areas where we believe that there's going to be interest in, right? And interest just means that there is potential buyers just chilling there. They have orders, right? So you can see that there was potential chance to get into some calls, nice run-ups. But remember, you're day trading or scalping these run-ups. And that's why I'm saying it's like, don't just use this zone and then, hey, day traders scalp it and just try to go for new all-time highs. That's where most people get caught up in, right? So just make sure that you have narrow targets. And if you are trading this green zone, there could be a reaction, but a reaction just equals into an opportunity. So the opportunity can last for, let's say a day trade or a scalp. Maybe it can be a swing, right? If you've seen what you're looking for, or the confirmations or the checklist that you usually apply onto or before placing a trade, if it tells you to enter, do what you got to do, right? But yeah, that's the level. If I want to give you that level real quick, that would be 281.55. Okay, 281.55. And that's the retest. And if this happened here, then it can definitely happen here as well, right? So these patterns or these setups repeat itself over and over. And if you made money around here, just because you saw like a double bottom or a nice demand, and it made you money, then hey, it makes sense to do it again here, right? Rinse and repeat. Pool. I never heard about pool. So let's see. What is pool? Same exact thing, right? Same exact thing. We have like a demand. And on this demand, we see that there is a U shape. Looks like the market's coming back up. But there can also be something like this. Run up into a gap and then a run down and then do this. So most likely this is going to run tomorrow, if not Tuesday, to fill in this gap over here, because there's a lot of gaps and imbalances on this range. And I believe that's where the pool can come up into to fix that, and then it can sell off right back down. So it can consolidate much more. Because keep in mind, every time that we gap up or gap down, we fill in those gaps somehow. There's a big imbalance right there, big imbalance right there, big imbalance right here. And it's like a cheat code. So if you learn imbalances, gaps, and all that good stuff, then you can use that, right, as an extra confluence on how you're going to go from maybe this zone to this zone. And then that could be like a target, right, before it goes and reverses the opposite way. But yeah, that's pull. That is pull. But as of now, overall, this is like bullish long term. Yeah, bullish long term, right? But yeah, that's just what's going on in this stock. And another one that I want to cover would be like Snow. Let me delete this. Snow is another one that can continue on ripping. Snow is a stock that has been, something that just jumped onto my radar for this or the past week. Is that the market's consolidating. We saw like crazy rips, and I have something like this. And so this week, my main objective is continue watching on Snow so I can find a nice one. I want to try to day trade it first if I do see a continuation in value. Because look at the volume. It's ripping up. And then the second thing can be use those profits that I made on that day trade and put it into a swing trade. So I'm trying to rinse and repeat those profits if I do, right? If the market does give me profits. If so, then I'll reinvest it. If not, then I could just put that money that I made into possibly like more into crypto or XRP, whatever it is. But I know that I'm using those profits for something good, right? So I want to make sure that that money works for me. And that's the mindset. That's the mentality that we should have when it comes down to trading. Because I was speaking to a student, earlier this week, is that, hey, instead of just trying to day trade, and let's just say, yeah, you're winning, put those wins into other investments like long-term swings, swing positions, crypto, whatever you see popping, right? Or maybe into stocks that offers dividends. That's something as well, right? So yeah, I'm watching snow. And right now, the market pulled back, and I think everything else pulled back. And this is something where we can see this and this again. So I'm looking at snow, and hopefully that this jumps on the watch list for this week. But that's it for today. That's it for tonight. I am done. I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and if you did, like this video up. Subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, I'll see everybody tomorrow morning if you're a part of the Vulture Academy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, thank you all for being part of this live stream. It means a lot. Let's continue doing this. I'm gonna continue jumping onto the live streams every single week, but you're gonna see me go live possibly like 2 times, if not 3 times per week. All right. Let me delete this though. Or actually, no, I'm not gonna delete it. But yeah, that's pretty much it though. Have a good night, everybody, and you have a blessed night, and you have an amazing week, and I'll see everybody later this week. All right, peace.